And how's everybody today? It's Mad Morgan, and you are listening to another episode of Car Musings. How you doing today? What's shaking, bacon? What's going on? How's everybody? Thanks for tuning in today. Appreciate you being here for another episode. Today, for me, was a little bit of spring cleaning and going through all the stuff I've been squirreling away, and that was good. Sorted that stuff out, checked a few other things. Trying to keep on top of stuff, right? Well, while I'm waiting for everything to sort itself out, I'm making sure that a lot of stuff that I've kind of hastily dealt with, I've actually double backed and made sure that everything's good. And that's sometimes something that's important to do. You know how life gets busy? You get busy, you get wrapped up in stuff and everything else, and you just lose track of time. You lose track of the days, and you're like, what the hell's going on? Like, oh, did I do that? Did I not do that? And you sit back and you wonder, and you're like, holy shoot, did I or didn't I? So today was catch up day. You know, you buy stuff in haste, you look at stuff in haste, and you go, huh, that sounds like a good idea. Oh, that's not a bad idea. And then you're like, okay, and then there's this idea, and you're like, hmm. But then you're like, well, maybe I should review all this stuff like that. Because as much as it sounds great in theory, is it great in the long run? That's always the question, right? So that's today was catch up. I went through all my gear, double checked, configured, looked at, was like, all right, that's good, and basically just tried to bang it all out, so to speak. And it was good that I did because um, some things are oversights. Some things you don't look at the moment. And I know I'm talking in circles here, but let's just say I took stock, tested, everything seems to be on track, and I'm feeling good. And I made new discoveries recently, which in my overall um, upcoming hobby, basically, I've discovered that when there's a need, somebody finds a way to design, and I think that's really neat when people do that, right? They're like, huh, there seems to be a need here. Nobody's created something for it, and somebody does. And I just think that's brilliant. Like, absolutely brilliant when they do that, right? Because you're like, that's pretty neat that somebody decided that here's a need. Anyways, enough on that. Today's topic is basically just being ready, being prepared, taking stock of your surroundings and not getting caught with your pants down. In the ever-changing world of everything that it is, I mean, let's look back at COVID. And the reason why COVID comes up, and probably why the topic of today's episode, is because my in-laws, I just found out, had COVID. Oh wait, COVID doesn't exist. It's just a mystery thing. It's something that fairies made up. It's completely false. It was the government lying to us. Okay, well here it is, 2026, and my in-laws had COVID. Yeah, so all you other fuckers can just fuck off because COVID never disappeared. It never did. It's still around. It still exists. But a lot of people just decided to bury their heads in the sand and go la 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 la. No, it doesn't work that way, my friends. I hate to break it to you. I hate to break it to you. But COVID was a thing, and it still is a thing, and it still exists. But no, everybody decided we're going to move on to something different. So now we're going to move on to World War. COVID's done. And I'm like, really? Well, tell that to both my elderly in-laws that just had COVID for 2 weeks. Feeling really shitty. They pulled through it, which is good. I'm happy for that. I'm very happy for that, especially because my father-in-law has cancer, or he's in, uh, what do they call it, where it stops its ugly trip. Oh, man, I can't even think straight right now. Anyways, it's hibernated for now, which is good. And I was really worried about that. I was like, hey, I pegged it. What are you telling me all these symptoms for? I'm like, I mean, completely, I completely memorized the whole COVID handbook as to what the symptoms are, what's this and what's that. Oh, your parents don't have taste anymore. Well, duh. You know what that is? No, it's not. They're just tired. It's fucking COVID. But no, 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 no. Of course, the rest of the world just gonna stick their heads in the sand and say, "Oh, it didn't happen. COVID doesn't exist. It was a lie." Fucking people. Seriously, fucking people. So maybe when the next event happens, that people won't be so ignorant and arrogant and everything else. Maybe they'll actually realize that what's going on is going on is going on, right? Versus you know trying to pretend it doesn't exist, it didn't happen, it's not going on. Well, that's not reality. What are you talking about? Well, if it's right in your face, it's kind of hard to deny something. Just saying. Just saying. Anyways, back to this. My advice to you, my fellow listeners, is get a state of readiness and preparedness and everything elseness. It doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank. It doesn't matter, how much you stick your heads in the sand and believe that something doesn't happen or isn't going to happen or isn't what it is. It doesn't make it reality. So, I mean, not all of you want to get prepared. Some of you, I'm hoping, will just get bulldozed over by the next event. But some of you out there that are listening, and CC, you're one of them. Uh, get prepared, man. Get prepared. You know, doomsday type stuff. You know, readiness. That's all I'm saying. Get ready. Get some readiness going. Get ready, prepared, everything else, just in case. Because there's nothing worse, as the saying goes, there's nothing worse than needing and not having versus having and not needing. Like, it's just, I'd rather not be left with that, oh shit, maybe I should have, versus, okay, I'm good to go. I'm gonna give it my best go. Like, that's what it comes down to. It's like, one way or the other. Which one is it? Okay, I'm gonna go with I'm ready. Give it my best go. At least I'm not coming at you with sticks. You know. At least I'm coming at with something. So I'm just saying, my friends, especially if you have family, you have kids, you have a significant other, just just think about you know rations. Think about water. Think about flood type stuff, or like if either any of you are around for the ice storm back in the late '90s. Um, if you were affected by that, I know some Canadians were. The thing is that that kind of preparedness. You're good for a few days. You're ready to go. You have all the resources you need. All that jazz. So get that kind of ready, right? That you can survive all that and like get through it all, and then go from there. As I said, it's maybe I've watched too many movies as a kid. Maybe movies like Terminator and Red Dawn and all that crap like that kind of stuck with me. But I think it kind of embedded something that put that always be like prepared, right? Always be ready for something, and it's been something that's been cursing my whole life, like my whole life, pretty much. Always be ready. Now, it could be because of my upbringing, because, being, bullied at home and at school and all that crap like that. I don't know. It could be that. It could be that survival side of me that's like, okay, you got to be ready for this. You got to get, prepared. You got to, get all that stuff. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's that. But either way, you got to ask yourself, is it paranoid or is it having some ready state? I mean, what harm is there in it? I tell you, if you had the resources, you could probably, for under $10,000, get yourself in a ready, somewhat state to at least give you a fighting chance. That's not bad. If you think about it, under $10,000, that's pretty good to get yourself in a state that you could, give it a go. Versus, the alternative of not having anything other than a kitchen knife to survive with, and whatever's in your pantry. You know what I'm saying? So you got to kind of think about all those things, and then ask yourself, okay, well, that's fine. That's fine. I got this. I'm prepared for this. Um, and if you are, you are. If you're not, you're not. But that's only up for you to decide. All I'm saying is read some survival books. Not necessarily go as far as prepping. Don't start digging a hole in your backyard and making a bomb shelter and stuff like that. I'm just saying when things have been rocky, especially for my generation, that's a course of time. We went through a lot of different things. The threat of nuclear war, the threat of this, the threat of that. So some people took that to heart and been living their life like that. Others, not so much. Others have been casually going with the flow, being optimistic. So when it comes down to it all, it's just like, okay, do you give credence to that, or do you just not give credence to that? Do you just brush it off as nothing to worry about, or do you say, okay, you know, would it really hurt to get a little prepared? I guess it really all depends. At the end of the day, how much it all matters to you. Myself, only because you read the way the world's going, you get a sense of everything, you get a sense of the people, you get a sense of the economy, you get a sense of everything, and you go, huh. I mean, I've had that a couple times where it's just like, okay, so should I? No, and I stop. Should I? And then I know I stop. Should I? And then I stop. And I'm like, but recently, after seeing everything that's been going on and the craziness that's going on in the world, I'm like, no, I definitely should. So that's what I've been doing. I have been prepping. I've been, getting stuff in order for my family, to have a go at it. I mean, not extreme, because there's other factors in that. But if you think about a method, if you think about a plan, if you think about a process, you can figure out a solution that would work, and you can go with it, right? So just go with it, make it work, figure it out. If it doesn't seem to go from the get-go, then you can find an alternative plan. But there's always a solution to every problem. You just have to find that solution. That's as simple as it gets. Just find that solution. I don't know. I'm talking in circles, but you're in a world where everything's connected, everything's listening, everything's being monitored. Big Brother is on fucking steroids now. So you really gotta sit back and go, okay, let's be smart about this one. And you gotta be smart about it. This is information for you to read between the lines and you to decide what you're going to do with it. I'm not talking anything like, stupidity like you have in the States. I am literally talking about, I'll give you the scenario. Okay, for some reason we have a blackout. You have no power. You have no internet. What do you do? You have no cell service. Cell towers are down. What do you do? How screwed are you? That's basically the question. How screwed are you? You got no power. Chances are probably no heat. You have no communication. What do you do? Are you ready to handle that? That's what it comes down to. Are you ready to handle that? And if you are, then kudos to you. My hat's off to you. If you are ready, then great. If you're not ready, then you just want to roll over and take it up the butt? Or what do you want to do? Because that's what it's going to come down to. That's what it's going to come down to. Do you have rations to survive a few days until the municipality or the local emergency forces come out and fix everything? And what if they don't come out in a couple of days? What if they don't come out in a week? What do you do? These are all factors that people overlook because they're especially in today's world where everything is instant. We just automatically believe that we're going to have provisions for everything. We can have everything instantly, especially the next generations are like that. They don't know, they don't have that survival skill. They figure everything's on demand and it's right away. But when those services no longer exist, what are you going to do? You know, I'd say that's one good thing about my generation that drank out of garden hoses and got kicked out of the house until the streetlights came on. It's something that it's skills that you need to have. Skills that you need to have. And if you don't have them, maybe you should learn them. Just saying. Just saying. So take a look around your house, apartment, wherever you live, and ask yourself, how ready are you to survive? You know who is ready to survive? This is the interesting part. Those people that are begging side of the street, the homeless, they're prepared because they can live off of anything. They can live off the land. They could live off of the whole infrastructure because they have it all down pat, right? And that's something that we can learn from them. Learning how to survive with nothing. That's impressive. That's a skill. And that's something that a lot of us don't have because we live in a North American society where everything is provided. We live in first world situations where we don't have to scrounge for our food, unless, something comes up that puts us in that situation. So I would say be prepared. Take a look around, even if you just packed a bag with some clothes, change of clothes, and like you're going on a weekend vacation or a weekend trip. Even if you do something as simple as that, at least you have some sort of emergency pack saying, "Hey, I can grab this, I can go, or I can hunker down and stay here and still be okay." And that's important in today's world. If it doesn't be an issue, then great. It's not going to be an issue. If it does be an issue, it's better to be prepared. Rely on yourself. Don't rely on the infrastructure. Because when it all comes down to it, we're all humans. We all have the same needs, wants, desires, and everything else, and we all have the same need to survive. So let me tell you, it doesn't matter which position somebody is in, even though if they have sworn to, do this, do that, and everything else, if it comes down to you or them, chances are it's not going to be them. It's going to be you that's going to make the sacrifice. Just remember that. So that's why you kind of have to rely on yourself. You got to be self sufficient for yourself. You got to be ready to rely on yourself because that's the only way you're going to know 100% on whether or not you're going to make it to the other end of it all. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, that's my nowhere episode for today. Topic on being ready and being prepared. Do yourself a favor. Take a look. Consider it. And go with it. Anyways, I'm Rose Mad Morgan. I want to thank you very much for tuning in to today's episode of Car Musings. Love you for it. Appreciate you for being here. And yeah, I'm going to wrap it up for today. Stick on the ice, keep your integrity in check, and I will see you next episode. Bye for now.